Hi, I'm Jules Mitchell. Welcome to Udaya.com. Today's teaching tip is a restorative Balasana. I do this a lot in some of the restorative classes that are on Udaya, but I really wanted to do this as a teaching tip because I brought my friend Yohai here, and he actually needs quite a bit of support. And so this is a really good opportunity, not in a class setting where I can really break it down. If you teach, you might recognize that you have students like this. It's actually not that uncommon. And also, if it might just be you might just want it for yourself. So I'm going to show you what the regular Balasana looks like, and then we're going to set them up in a restorative version of it. So go ahead and come on. Okay, so with Elaine, we've got a lot of rounding here and then a sudden drop in the neck. So I'm going to give her some support so we can get a little bit more even support across the length of the spine. With Yohai over here, he's just miserable, right? He can't get his hips back and everything is falling forward. So all the weight of his body is like on his forehead and kind of congesting his neck. Go ahead and come on up. And Molly's also not getting her weight back as much, but she doesn't look as challenged as Yohai did. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Molly. Come on up. And I'm going to have you guys kind of step out of the way. Come this way so that you're out of the way of the cameras. Yeah. And you're going to have to hand me props as I ask for them. Okay. So go ahead and lift your pelvis up. I'm just going to start with a little bit, and then I can always add more because you can definitely over prop as well as under prop. So come on back so I can see what that looks like. Okay, come on up. Good. I'm going to fold over a little bit here. Get some space in between the back of your knees. Okay, try that. Good, that's a little bit better. You feel a little bit more supported. Can you hand me a bolster? Now I'm gonna lift her up to let her drop back, so come on up. We're gonna bring this in here. Might need to go a little wider with the knees. We're gonna definitely need to go higher. Can you hand me another bolster? Yeah, possibly. Because there's this big gap here, and so what I really wanna do, I'm gonna just use this one and really get some support for the lower belly and for the lower back. Oh, and that pretty much handled it. How's that? Great. So now I've really lifted her up. I've enabled her pelvis to drop down. I've given her a little bit of support here behind the knees so that she doesn't have to kind of hover in space. And if the bolster was just a little bit longer, it'd be ideal. And I could put a block there or something. But just for a quick fix in your class, if you're teaching a class and you see someone struggling with this, you can really just prop them up. As you can see, she's got support all the way along the length of her front body, so she can really rest and be relaxed here. Great. Come on up. Okay, Elaine. Balasana. Okay, so at first, the first thing I'm gonna do is lift her head. So can you hand me a couple blocks? And that might just be all she needs, we'll see. Hit the block however you need. That already does a tremendous amount, but it's just not quite high enough. Let's do a blanket. Let's put a blanket on top of see if that works. Okay, so this is awesome. This is my favorite part. We've really kind of resolved stuff that's going on here, but she's really working in the shoulders a lot. The shoulders, if I could get her shoulders to get some relax, but if I could get her shoulders supported, all of this tension would go away. So hand me a bolster, please. We'll start with the bolster. And I'm gonna have you take your knees wide. Yep, and we're gonna take this blanket. And once again, same thing as with Molly. I'm going to take this blanket, and because there's a little gap here, I'm going to get this all the way up to her lower belly so she can come all the way up and over. And then I'm going to need 2 more blankets, please. Does that feel okay? Okay, come on forward. So again, we've got this pretty much resolved. She could be searching for a little bit more length here, but again, I'm not looking for, a cookie cutter version of the pose. I'm just looking for where I can get her to be most relaxed. And I'm going to come over onto this side so that we can get a good view of it. And I'm just going to find a little roll of blanket that's just right for her. If I were at my home studio, I probably wouldn't grab a blanket. I'd grab like an eye pillow or like a neck roll or something a little bit smaller. But I'm gonna make it work with what I've got. So I'm basically, nope. I'm gonna take this and wedge it sort of underneath her arm. There you go. Yes. Does that work for you? So again, it was a lot of blanket and I had to kind of fold it to get it out of the way. But now her arm doesn't feel like it's falling, so she doesn't have to use the muscles at the back of the shoulder to hold her up, because after 30 seconds or so, she'll get fatigued and it won't be a restful posture. So I just stuck this under her arm. This is actually a variation I like as well. And of course, I would do it on the other side. Okay, come on up. Ready? Yes, I want all this stuff, yes. Okay. I've done this with Yohai, I don't know, 5 or 6 times probably. It's never the same because there's so much stuff, but when we get there, you love it, right? Okay, so remember show us again what your child's pose looked like. So the first thing I want to do is get some support under here. So come on up. I'm going to give you a blanket, and we might even want a bolster, but we'll find out. Oh, that actually works pretty well. Okay, so come on, sit up. Can you sit onto your heels? Is that okay? Yep, you've got the flexibility for that. Can I have some bolsters? More. Okay. Some blocks I have. I'm gonna tilt this up. So I'm really just taking the posture and I have to build it up for him this way, okay? Let's see what that looks like. Okay, now I don't want him to do this with his arms, so I'm gonna have him slide his arms underneath. Yes, good. Come on up, perfect. I'm gonna give you just a little bit more length. Actually, I'm gonna do a blanket instead, I think. That's too thick. I'm gonna fold a blanket into thirds. And there's no one way to do this. Like I said, it looks different every time I do this because my props on hand are different. So I'm really just kind of making do with what I have. All right, and then slide your arms underneath. Oh, that looks good. Turn your head to one side. Perfect. There's one other thing I would do just to get a little more lift here. I'd give him another blanket sideways. And now I'm just being a perfectionist. But are you comfy there? Yeah. So if you see what I did, I just took the posture from this forward leaning posture and just brought it up a little bit. So come on up one more time for me. I'm gonna get just a little bit more lift, right. And so your arms are gonna go over the blanket and through. Yeah. Yes, much better. Yeah. He's like, it was a little bit too low, so he was getting a little bit congested in the neck. Yeah. Okay, and so now he can rest here. I won't make you get up. So give it a try. If you don't have all these props at home, just use what you have, couch cushions, pillows, blankets, and see if it works for you and for your students. Namaste.